Hey, and welcome back to Most Clicked. This week on Most Clicked, we are going to be looking at Meta's biggest move on HE to date. I'm joined again by Kyle from the Education Newsletter. Kyle, how you doing this week? You all right?
Yeah, all good. Love a good meta story.
Don't we all?
Mark Zuckerberg's biggest fan here. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
And Mark Zuckerberg's least biggest fan here. Some I saw this one in your newsletter, and I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
But go on, you tell us about their move in HE.
I mean, I think it's very easy to jump on this stuff and have a go. What I will say is I do have some concerns in it, but I want to start with the positive stuff. Firstly, from the examples I've seen, let me outline the project first. So, Meta's partnered with 10 universities to discover what a meta versity looks like. That's their name for them.
Mm,
And I think
of
this
course,
is timely. I think there's a lot of talk about the metaverse and what it means for a variety of industries, education being one of them. And they've partnered with 10 unis to work out what that vision can practically look like. And,
hmm
fair play to them. They're paying for the whole thing. They're giving universities headsets, and they're also enabling them to partner with a development agency called Engage to build these experiences. So, fair play. One of the issues I might have a few problems with is, well, given it is Facebook, and that's what Meta is, isn't it? What's going
mm,
on with student data? Would you necessarily want to trust Meta in that regard? And it's the other positive area of it, though, is how they're approaching the Meta University view of it. So they're not just building like virtual campuses, which is a relief,
mm.
because I don't think that's the way to get the most out of these sort of things. What they are doing is like reimagining teaching. So, if you're learning about like molecules that are only found on the moon or something like that, you can actually go to these locations and actually you don't feel that you're there. I guess that's a benefit.
Mm.
It's not possible in real life, is it? So they're taking these things and exploring them in new ways. That's really cool. But my main kind of thing was that has not got a great track record, has it? And it just feels a little bit. There's some issues here.
Yeah, there are issues. I know you're saying like, oh, it's good that they're loading them up with the tech and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. That seems like a kind of that just seems like oh gosh, what's the phrase for it? A conflict of interest, I think,
Mm.
because it's not that the university's not like buying into the idea necessarily. It's kind of going, oh well, this is free, this is cool, it's headline worthy. Let's jump in and
Give it a
give it a go.
go.
But my cynicism aside, yes, I'm interested to see where this sort of thinking goes, because it's the stuff of sci-fi films, right?
Mm.
What is the future of the university, and I don't know. I kind of think that I love sci-fi. I should put it out there that I absolutely love sci-fi, and so this should be in totally in my swim lane. I should be
Mm.
ripe for loving this stuff. And yet there's something about it where I just think it's like it's either a B movie that I'd skip on Netflix, or it's a dystopian future sci-fi kind of flick.
Mm.
Um, and so I'm stuck between, is it going to be a bit of a flop, or is it going to not be a flop but be an absolute nightmare for the sector for some of the reasons that you've talked about? There are definitely, though, some I love what you're saying, like about, if you could have molecules and the teacher could throw the molecule into your hand and you could spin it like Minority Report and kind of,
That's not the reality, though, is it? That's
enhance. um I don't think it is, and it certainly feels like that sort of technology isn't mature enough.
Yeah, I'd agree there, and I also think that VR is a little bit exclusive and limiting. And I'm much more of a, you'll know this, Nate. I'm a bigger fan of augmented reality,
Mm.
because I feel like that tech is sort of already proven that it can hit a mass market. We've all used it. And I think it's more compelling to put a digital layer on top of a real world experience and enhance it than perhaps it is to require someone to immerse themselves in a different place, which feels like a barrier to me. And if you want to have people experience these digital imaginations or digital experiences, shouldn't you be using the platform that's like that has the lowest barriers to entry in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I come up against the argument of the digital divide quite a lot in my weeks. Gosh, how the digital divide would play into something like this is just absolutely phenomenal. It's all very well where you've got big bucks universities who can afford to get everybody a laptop, let alone a VR headset. But there are universities out there, that can't even buy laptops for their students, sort of things. So let's be realistic about the outlay and stuff like that. However, the sci-fi nerd in me has kicked in, and there was, I think it was you, Kyle. You had put a LinkedIn post or a newsletter post about some research that it was over 50%. I know that much. Said that they weren't bothered about experiences being digital versus. Was that? Am I right? What was the stat?
Are you thinking of the one where it was over 50% of people prefer their digital life to their real life?
Something like that. Yeah. Awesome. So cool. And I was like, yes, finally. This is like, and I get it. I do get it though. Like I'll name check him, Elliot, who actually produces Most Clicked. Thank you, Elliot. He plays a lot of Fortnite. We were talking about it just today, and he was talking about the I can't remember what it's called now. Like the end of season.
The end of season event, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. And those are now for a lot of people where memories are made, and I think it's so cool that people are now kind of not. They don't care about the distinction between something in the virtual world versus something in the physical world. That is crazy. And that statistic, by the way, Carl, was picked up by Keanu Reeves. I'll need to find it out for the show notes, but there's a video where Keanu Reeves talks about that. And he's also a big sci-fi nerd. He's like, whoa, that's so cool. So I'm excited about the potential of what that sort of statement leads to. The metaversity in this format, I'm not sure it is, but hey, it's a journey, right? And I'm enjoying watching it play out.
Yeah, same. I mean, I do feel there's, and I fall into the same camp as you. I mean, I use digital platforms every day. I think it's problematic when you kind of. I don't think it's as clear cut as real life versus digital life, is it? What we're doing now, we're doing it in real life. It's not like we have a separate digital life where we exist in like a YouTube video. So I think there's a bit of a blur there, but I certainly get it. And Discord, for instance, most people don't use their real name, do they? They have a digital identity. Back in the early days of the internet, people use like random names on forums all the time. So it's not a new concept, but it's like a pendulum that moves back and forth. And I think today it's so possible to have a separate online identity, isn't it? I mean, it's never been easier.
Do you remember any of your early online identities, Carl?
I do. The one I use quite frequently, because I was playing N64 Perfect Dark at the time, was Perfect KDC, which is my initials on the back of Perfect, and that was the one that I'd use to enter like video game tournaments and stuff like that. So, what about you? What was yours?
I have many that I'm way too embarrassed to share on this, if I'm being honest. The one that I'm only mildly embarrassed to share was, so I used to play the saxophone, if you didn't know, and it was Saxy Nath. Oh, there you go.
I'm sure you've got a Hotmail account to that, surely. Yeah?
I think I very may well have. I'm shocked that I have shared that on the internet, being honest with you. But there you go. There you go. Okay, well, that's really cool. Thanks, Carl, for sharing. Really appreciate that, as always. And thank you to everybody at home for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you have enjoyed today's content, please do consider dropping us a like. Until next time, see you next week.